I'm Rich Carroll. This local news is a service of Flagler County's Toyota dealer, Beaver Toyota, here to wow you. The Palm Coast City Council continues to clash over accusations of corruption at yesterday's workshop. It all began at the end of last Tuesday evening's City Council meeting when Councilman Victor Barbosa made a motion to fire City Manager Matt Morton over a code enforcement controversy. There was no second for the motion, and later that evening, Councilman Barbosa went on Facebook with more accusations of corruption for both the city manager and the city council. Vice Mayor Eddie Branchino was not happy with the social media activity.
It should be illegal for you to drink and post on Facebook. This goes directly to Councilman Barbosa. Now I would like to let Councilman Victor Barbosa know that I'm very familiar with the word corruption. The reason why I asked our attorney for the description of corruption, it wasn't for me. It was for you, Mr. Barbosa. So don't make fun of me on video telling people out there that a detective doesn't know what corruption is. I know. You're the one who doesn't.
Councilman Victor Barbosa did have a response.
I don't drink alcohol. I had my last wife was an alcoholic, so I understand what dealing with alcohol is. So I don't know what else to say. I mean, obviously he's now attacked two councilmen. It's just sad. I mean, whatever.
Councilman Victor Barbosa is referring to the conflict between Vice Mayor Eddie Branchino and Councilman Ed Danko at a previous meeting over the same subject of corruption. Palm Coast Mayor Melissa Holland says the goal is still to work together.
Councilman Barbosa, you have free speech to go on your Facebook page and certainly post, what you think is appropriate, but you did allege that because each of us had sat back and not seconded a motion to terminate the city manager, that in essence we are all acting in a corrupt manner, sir. So I would just ask you to respect that in the future. Just because we don't agree on everything doesn't mean we're not going to be able to work together. We are going to be able to work together.
As promised, more charges are brought in a recent brawl that involved dozens of teens in Ralph Carter Park. Amy Cherry has the story.
Deputies arrested 18-year-old David Reese of Palm Coast Monday, Sheriff Rick Staley.
In this arrest, an 18-year-old was driving their car recklessly during the brawl on the field and struck a bystander and then fled.
Reese faces charges of aggravated battery with a deadly weapon and aggravated child abuse. He's being held on more than $17,000 bail. Reese's arrest follows the arrest of 17-year-old Mar Figueroa Rohino last week in connection with the brawl. Deputies say she used a stun gun she bought on Amazon on a 17-year-old boy for 4 minutes straight. From the WNZF Newsroom, I'm Amy Cherry.
One local business leader is cheering passage of major sales tax legislation. John Arking reports.
The Palm Coast Flagler Regional Chamber of Commerce says that the recent passage of SB 50 will go a long way towards leveling the playing field for brick-and-mortar businesses as they try and compete with online retailers. Greg Blase is president and CEO.
It implements an online sales taxes for companies that do not have a physical presence in Florida.
Blase says there was $1 billion worth of revenue being left on the table prior to this legislation. With that now expected to enter the state of Florida's coffers, he says there are two ways additional revenue will be spent.
The first is to reduce a tax that was already going to be increased on businesses, and that's the unemployment compensation tax. There was a hefty increase coming toward businesses. We all got notices in December about it. The legislature is going to pay down that tax increase with the revenues collected from Senate Bill 50 if the governor passes it. The second big thing that this bill does is reduces the Florida-only business rent tax. Florida is the only state in the nation that has a statewide tax on rent from businesses.
Blase says by reducing that tax from 5.5 to 2%, a 60% reduction, businesses statewide will save hundreds of millions of dollars that will be critical to emerging from the pandemic even stronger. From the WNZF Newsroom, I'm John Arking.
Are children really being removed from abusive homes in Flagler County?
Christy Gillis, the Community Development Administrator for the Florida Department of Children and Families Circuit 7, says there are. The circuit includes Flagler, Putnam, Volusia, St. Johns counties. Gillis said that the number of kids removed from abusive situations was down from 2019 to 2020.
Although the number of children removed in Flagler County was down, so 2018-19, there were 120 children that were removed. In 2019-20, there were 85 that were removed. That was still higher than the last 5 years we were looking at.
Gillis said that the report numbers of child abuse were going down, but that there was still a high number of children being removed from their homes based on the Child Abuse Prevention Hotline. If you know of a child in an abusive situation, you can call the hotline at 800-96-ABUSE. You can listen to Flagler Health Matters every Saturday morning at 11:30 here on WNZF Radio. Tomorrow, how is a child removed from their home? From the WNZF Newsroom, I'm Deb Albertson.
Fun water activities are being planned for Waterfront Park. Karen Johnson has the details.
The City of Palm Coast is seeking a multi-year grant for enhancements to Waterfront Park to build non-motorized boat access through a floating dock for a launch area. It would provide access for kayaks, paddleboards, canoes, rowboats, and others, further adding to residents' recreational experience at one of Palm Coast's most treasured parks. It's according to Lauren Johnston, Director of Parks and Recreation for the City of Palm Coast.
Waterfront Park is one of our most favorite parks of our park system. Our residents recently said that they utilize that park as one of our top 3 parks. And actually, Waterfront Park was chosen to be the Traveler's Choice Award in TripAdvisor in 2020.
Johnston says the City of Palm Coast was awarded Part A in the amount of $146,000 in October of 2020 to be applied toward the cost of the improvements, particularly along the shoreline. The city just submitted for Part B of the grant, an amount for $211,250 to help with the cost of dredging. Following this, the city plans to ask for Part C of the grant, which will be used to pay for the floating structure. The 20-acre park's amenities currently include family picnic pavilions, a playground, fishing pier, and trails that provide the linkage to the city's entire system. It's also home to the Children's Memorial Garden. For Flagler's Morning News, I'm Karen Johnson.
And now you're up to date on Flagler's Morning News. I'm Rich Carroll.